All right, so just in case anyone's interested in what the Slant 6 oil pump looks like, I've just pulled this one apart and given it a really good clean. Look, very, very basically, inside the front of your oil pump, when you take it off, you've got this cover over it. Okay, that cover just unbolts, and then inside you'll have this. Now this piece here will be sitting in a lot more flush inside it, but you just give it a bit of a tap and it comes out. It's meant to spin freely in there. This is like your impeller for turning the oil. That's meant to spin freely as well. You'll have an O-ring, which is inside the cover. Now the other thing which I didn't realise was, I mean, these are your fittings, obviously, that go to your oil pipes. But yeah, one of the things I didn't realise was there was this great big nut, which was here on the back of the oil pump. When I took it off, inside, you've got this large spring, and that's all that came out, until I did a bit of research and found out that it's actually a pressure relief valve in there, and there's this removable like little piston. Now this little piston sits inside there. Now to get it out, I couldn't get it out, it had heaps of grunge in it. I actually had to go from inside the oil pump. I got a coat hanger, and I got in underneath there, and you can actually push this little piston out, and I've just given a little bit of a clean, and that's ready to go back in. On the other side of the oil pump, obviously, you've got your little gear, and that's pretty much it. Now, the research that I've done, I wondered what needed replacing on this. Unless there's any real damage in here or scoring, it's basically a matter of just giving it a really good clean. Generally, they don't fail, these things, but mainly checking your little gear here, which sits on the camshaft. And for anyone that's thinking of purchasing one of these, like from overseas or whatever, from America, this is an Australian Slant 6 oil pump, and there's a big difference, because the ones from America actually have like a big boss section out the side here, because their oil filter screws on right directly onto the oil pump, whereas in Australia we have a remote one on the other side with pipes, because obviously we've got the steering box underneath the motor as well as the oil pump. So if you're ordering one from America, you've got to remember it's going to have the big piece that's moulded on there as well for the oil filter. Australian ones, I think you can buy kits now, but that might be about it. Generally though, give them a good clean. You put a new gasket in, new gasket on the back, of course, which goes onto the engine, and just give it a good clean out and make sure it's all working. I actually had this one here that you're seeing is from probably a mid-60s, late 60s engine. This one here is the original one out of my R series Valiant. Now, it was frozen when I took it out. I could not turn this out at all, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I thought I'll have a play. I gave it a bit of a tap with hammers and things, and I actually did a little bit of damage to the edges here. And I asked my local machinist, I said, look, does that really matter? Is that okay? He said it does, because if it's not like a really perfect finish, it can cause air bubbles or something in the oil when it's running, which isn't good. So I hope I understood what he was talking about. In any case, I found out that they're pretty basic, the oil pumps. Just make sure they're clean, they move freely, and that the gear on the back here isn't worn out. You can still buy gears, but I think they're a little bit hard to find. Anyway, sorry if I've waffled on. That's all for now.